All right, everybody, welcome to NorCal Sports Network. And this is the same hat that Brock Purdy's dad wears. Chat loves it when Marty Lurie comes on.
Anytime you lose a game this time of year, when you can't go backwards, it's a problem.
All right, everybody, welcome to NorCal Sports Network, with the Giants are winning right now in the bottom of the ninth. How many out, Dallas? 2? How many out?
They just sack fly. 2 outs now.
2 outs now. All right.
It's now
2
10
outs
to
now.
6.
10-6. Giants lead it. I'm going to step out because we'll let Dallas take it from here. Lou will be jumping in. I've got an NFL fantasy draft I got to take care of right now. So take it away, Dallas. I will be back in. I'll probably come back in about an hour. Maybe I'll pop back in here or there. But I will see you guys back shortly. Take it away, Dallas.
All right. Well, we wanted to get right into talking about this game, and so much so that it wasn't even over yet. But we'll kind of finish out the end of the game here. There's just 1 out to go, and we've got Freeman on first, Moniak on third, and now looks like a hit by Goodman, and they've scored another run, it looks like. Let's see here. The ball rolled all the way to the wall. It's thrown back in, and they did send the runner, so it's now going to be 10-7. Hasn't updated the score yet here. 10-8. 2 runners scored on that. So now runner on second with 2 down. Bottom of the ninth. Walker still in there. It became a save situation. JT Brubaker, if he had pitched made it through the last 3 innings, would have been eligible for a save. But now, since it's a much closer game, Walker came in, and it's a legitimate save situation if he can figure out a way to pull this off. Just a 2-run cushion now for the Giants, 10-8, and the first pitch is a strike right down the middle, sinking fastball, 96 miles an hour. So let's see here. This has been a crazy game. The Giants got off to the hot start again, scoring in the 2nd inning and then adding on in the 3rd inning. Next pitch from Walker is a ball outside. And then all of a sudden the Rockies came roaring back. There's another strike on the outside corner, sinker. So it's 1-2 now as the count. So yeah, the Rockies scored 4 in the 5th inning to take the lead. There it is. Ball game is over. There's a strikeout there to end the game, and Walker strikes out Beck, and that'll do it. So final 10-8, a little bit closer than any of us wanted, that's for sure. But the Giants did get it done tonight. Robbie Ray started the game and really didn't have his best stuff tonight. He kind of labored quite a bit throughout the whole game, and he had kind of a tough time of it, but he managed to get through, I think, 5 innings. Let's see here. Oh, where's my box score at? There it is. 4 2/3 innings, almost 5 innings. Peguero came in and pitched 1 1/3 innings of scoreless ball, and then Brubaker came in and was doing well the 1st inning, and then started giving up some runs there in the 9th, and then Walker came in and finished the 9th and got the final 2 outs of the game. So this is a kind of a weird game where Chapman, they announced his suspension starting the game, and then Chapman is appealing the suspension, so he gets to play in this game. And going into the game, I'm thinking, well, geez, why doesn't he just serve his suspension against the Rockies, and then we'll have him against the good teams? Well, Chapman with 2 home runs tonight. He made his presence known for sure, and led the offense tonight, and with 4 RBI. So heck of a performance by Chapman. He led the team. Devers with another RBI. The Giants with 10 runs tonight. So a lot of people got in on the action. Gilbert had one, a home run in the 7th inning. Flores had RBI. So let's see here. Oh, there it is. Devers had 1, Flores, Gilbert, Chapman had 4, and Bailey. So a lot of guys getting in on the action tonight, which was good to see. But really, I mean, the story of the game was the clutch offensive hitting continues. Once the Rockies came back and put 4 on the board in the 5th, the Giants responded with 5 in the 6th, and really just put the Rockies away at that point. And you're thinking, okay, this is going to be easy going the rest of the way. Not so fast. This is Coors Field. This is elevation. This is Colorado, and weird things happen there. And the Rockies score 3 in the 9th to make it interesting. And but the Giants hold on and get the win. So yeah, good to see that. They sweep the Rockies and keep their positive streak in line. So we're gonna wait for Lou to hop in here. Dan has his baseball draft tonight, so he'll be he might pop in later if there's a lull in the action. I think he has the 10th and the 11th picks in that wraparound draft, so then he'll have long 20 pick lulls before he has another pick. So we might see Dan again before the end of the night, and I know Lou is going to be popping in. But before Lou hops in here, let's talk about our sponsor, Chapman Law Group. Chapman Law Group is in Marin County, and they serve all of California for all your legal needs. Do you have a will and testament? I don't know. You're getting a little bit long in the tooth. You might want to think about that, or a living trust, or coming up with a game plan to protect your assets after you pass away. So Chapman Law Group handles that, living trusts, protecting your assets, and give them a call, 415-613-9483. They do it all there at Chapman Law Group. So give them a call. Tell them NorCal Sports Network sent you. All right, so let's hear from the chat a little bit here. We've got people trickling in. I don't think anyone expected this to be off to such a quick start. Hey, Jim, how's it going? Hey, Harish, how's it going? Brubaker sucks, says Greg. Well, you know, he started off good, but it kind of fell apart for him at the end. I was a little in the, I guess it was the 7th inning. He came in, and I thought, oh, this guy's looking pretty good. He struck out the first batter he faced on 3 pitches, and I thought, oh man, this guy could be a good addition. Well, he ran into some challenges later on, and so yeah, Dallas, didn't you just call in one day? How'd you end up hosting? Yes, I called in one day, and sometimes they need someone to hop in here and chat on the microphone here. So I'm happy to do it. And then when Dan and Lou are back at full force, then I can just be in the chat with everybody else and put it in there, put it in my witty comments. So yeah, Ernest Sire left Ray in way too long, left Brubaker in too long. Well, yeah, so Ray, they took him out, and that was right when Melvin got ejected. So then the ship is running without a captain at that point. But so on the Brubaker one, leaving him in too long. But you got a big lead. You think, okay, you know, he should be able to get through this. And I mean, that's the theme for the Giants all season. You leave in pitchers too long, and and of course, in hindsight, it's always 2020. You look back and say, yeah, when that guy gave up that home run, it sure would have been better to have taken him out the batter before. So, but you're right. I mean, it was pretty clear that Ray was having a tough time there in, it must have been the 5th inning. So, it was pretty clear it was time for him to go when that happened. He gave up 4 earned runs. But you know what? Let's talk about that. The missed strike 3 call in that same inning, the inning got extended. So with 2 outs, there was a throwing error on Ramos, and which allowed another runner to move over to second base, and then several runs scored. I think maybe all of those runs scored after that missed strike call. So I was listening on the radio at that point, so I didn't see that pitch exactly. So I don't know how close it was, but Melvin was arguing it a couple different times going out to the mound. So he felt pretty strongly that should have been strike 3, but you can't rely on that. There's going to be bad strike calls, and you have to be able to pitch around that and not give up 4 runs because just because of one bad strike call. So really, you can blame the umpire, but Ray was the one throwing the pitches after that. So, I can't, he's really the one at fault there. And if you want to blame Melvin for not taking him out earlier, you could do that too. But yeah, 7 hits, 5 runs, 4 earned, only walked 1 and struck out 8. So, he struggled at times, but only walking 1, that helps his cause. And, it's great when the Giants are, hey, Lou, how's it going?
I'm good.
It's great when the Giants are scoring this many runs, because then you allow your pitcher some leeway to give up runs and have kind of a subpar outing, and you still are able to get a win. Earlier in the season, the maximum number of runs the Giants could score was 4 runs. That's all you could get. Like 4 runs was a good day, 1 run was a bad day, or 0 runs. And the first half of the season, really until just the last couple of weeks, that was the case for the Giants. They could not score more than 4 runs. And now that they're scoring 10 runs a game this past week, it allows for subpar pitching performances and still get wins, because we saw that with several of the starters recently. So Lou, welcome in. We kind of chatted about the game. We did the
I've been in the green room. I've been in the green room for like 10 minutes, so I didn't know.
Sorry, I didn't even know.
No, that's all right.
I can't add you, but
I know
someone did.
First of all, I don't understand. Dan gave me his word. He's not doing football fantasy, and now he's doing football fantasy after having to hear him with the baseball fantasy. I guess, the little kid in him will never leave. But I can't believe he's doing football fantasy now. But okay, no problem. I was listening to what you said, and I think you bring up a great point. It's hard to pitch when you have a big lead, especially on the road. So, when that happens, it's sort of like the same when you bring in a reliever, a closer, when he's pitching the 7th, 8th inning and they're up like 5-1 and the save's not in line. It's just something mentally where these guys can't do it. The only negative I have is, you got to, and again, Melvin is trying to get him the win, but at 99 pitches, you bring up a great point where, the umpire missed the strike, but still he's at 99 pitches and couldn't get through the 5th inning. That's a problem. And the other thing is that I wanted to bring up is everyone's talking about Brubaker. I saw him pitch this weekend up in Reno, and he pitched 2/3 of an inning and gave up 7. And if you listen to our show, I believe it was 2 nights ago when you and me did it, I said, I don't want them to bring shit up. I don't want them to bring any more pitchers up from our AAA, because I saw him in Reno, and Brubaker did the same thing. He got the first guy out when I saw him, and then he got shellacked. And the one thing that I didn't like about him is, why do you pitch him? He's going from Reno, where he got shellacked in the altitude, to to now he's going to Denver in the altitude. I don't think that's good coaching. You know, if you're going to do it, wait until St. Louis. You know, you already saw he can't pitch in the altitude. Now you can do it again. And now the kid's, you know, his mind next time he goes in, he's going to be thinking, oh, okay. Yeah. Okay. You know what I mean? That's just me. But again, I think one of the biggest problem with Melvin is, you know, he wanted to get Ray the win so bad he was going to do whatever it takes. But 100 pitches and you still don't get through 5. We bought this up the other night with Verlander. It was what, 121 trying to get through 5 because he wanted to get the win?
121.
You know, and with the Giants going good, you got to make sure these pitchers are going to be able to make their next start and be 100%. So that's the only thing. The one thing I did want to comment, Dallas, last night is, you know, and I'm really glad you said it because I said it in the comment. You know, you got to get Gilbert. Keep playing Gilbert. Forget this crap with Melvin. If a lefty comes up, you're not going to give Gilbert a chance. I mean, he did it again tonight. I mean, what is a young guy supposed to do to show that at least right now he's hot? He belongs on the club. Forget the righty-lefty thing. You know, the Giants right now have a shot. Now, it's still a very, very long shot, you know, because now we're going to St. Louis, you know, and we still got Arizona twice and the Dodgers twice. But we need these pitchers to be ready to go. I don't want any more excuses. You know, you bring up a great point, but you also got to remember the last 6 games, we've gone against the two worst pitching staffs in baseball. Orioles were horrible. Okay, their pitching staff has been horrible. I don't care that they swept San Diego. They're horrible. Okay, Colorado, their pitching staff, horrible. So I'm glad we got these 6 wins. I thought the 3 wins over the Cubs were even more impressive because that team is a playoff team. But going to the point, hey, you know, when you win 10 out of 11, everything is going good. The Giants just need to keep it going, Dallas.
Yes, they do.
You know, and I'm sort of upset there is a day off tomorrow. You know what I mean? Where they have a good flow going. It's like, couldn't we give a day off maybe in 4 days? You know, because it's, you know, it's just going. That's all I wanted to say.
Yeah. I mean, they could rest the bullpen up a little bit. I think, you know, these starters have not been going deep. So having a day off is good for that. But yeah, when you're hot and when you're hitting and the ball is going out of the park every night, the day off, you don't even really want to see that. They did give Gilbert the start in center field tonight. So Lee sat, and that's what they should do. Because right now, Ramos is pretty good. He's been coming through quite a bit. You've got Matos and you've got Gilbert, and those are your 3 hottest outfielders right now. So you want to get them in the lineup. And then they had Flores DHing again because he hit a home run, you know, in his previous game, and he had another hit tonight with an RBI. So Flores has been good, but if you sit Flores and you want to put Ramos at DH, and then have the 3 outfielders that can actually play outfield pretty well, that's probably the way to go. And then you don't have to do the flip-flopping of the lefty and righty with Matos and Gilbert, because when you do that, they're all both playing half the time, and Matos is playing a third of the time, and then without consistent at-bats, you don't really know what you have in them. So they both, they came out and said, you know, Matos needs to play every day, and he has played almost every day, which is good, and needs to do that the rest of the way. But now they have Gilbert that's hot. You want to get him in the lineup too. So hopefully they can continue to find ways to do that. And with Devers kind of being the hot hand in the infield now, playing a good third last night and then playing a good first base tonight, I don't even think he wants to DH. So you might as well leave him out there. And I think that's fine.
He deserves to play every day. Devers.
He does. Yep. There's no reason not to. And if he's, you know, being productive at bats then obviously it's not tiring him out playing the field. He seems to do better when he's playing the field as well. So
yeah, I just wanted to bring up 2 points before we get to players of the game. One was, I'm sort of happy because we've been talking about everybody else except Bailey. I thought tonight Bailey had 2 huge at bats where we've been riding him pretty bad. but 2 huge singles, really to keep the flow going. And I thought, that was huge at bat. And then, of course, I thought maybe the bat of the night, especially after the Giants blew the lead, was Casey Schmidt. The Giants, and we talk about this, the shutdown inning, Colorado came back, took the lead. Casey Schmidt's at bat was incredible. And it might not show in the stats, but if you watch the game, that was probably one of the biggest at bats. Even though he got a walk, the next guy got a walk. Then we got a single. And, sometimes small things lead to victories. And right now, everything the Giants are doing is going really well. Tonight, to show you, hey, Mets lost, Reds lost, San Diego lost. So these are the type of games you got to come through, especially when the 3 teams in front of you have lost. The Dodgers lost. Now we just need to, make sure we go to St. Louis and, play Giants baseball. And I think that's what we've sort of seen. We're playing Giants baseball where they're winning as a team. Guys are coming up with key hits when you least expect it. Like I said, Bailey got a big hit today. I thought, the pitching, again, guys, when you pitch in Colorado, expect the unexpected. I know Ray didn't go 5, but he was in control of the game until, the dreaded 5th. And it always seems like, but Colorado is so unique. When you're a pitcher, I'm when the Giants were 0-3 and about to get swept, and Zito, whose ERA during spring training, I think was 175, and he pitched a 3-hit shutout, you knew anything can happen in Colorado. So the Giants never, I can't remember the last time they swept Colorado. At Colorado, we've always seemed to have struggles, especially the second half of the season. So I thought this was a very impressive 3-game series, 3-game sweep. They could have looked ahead, coming off Baltimore, but I thought they played really, really well. And if you look, everyone, especially after what happened last night, everyone contributed, especially on the offense. Everybody got key hits, and that's why we won 10 out of 11. So I just wanted to bring that up, Dallas.
Yeah, that's absolutely right. And they're just the ability to string hits together and, get, whereas before they get 2 on and, Bailey's at the plate, usually a couple of weeks ago, you could just chalk that up as a ground out and that would be it. And he came up and he had the bunt sign was on and he took a pitch trying to bunt. And then the next one's a strike and he's not showing bunt. And then you're like, okay, 2 strikes on him. This is no good. This is not going to work out. Nope. He, lines a base hit and extends the inning and keeps the line moving. So that was a great at bat. And it's good to see him finally start to have a little success in these situations.
Yeah, agreed.
And just last night, I think he had another key hit in a situation with runners on, and so yeah, he has.
Yeah, and I just wanted to bring that up
because we've been the clutch gene.
Yeah, we've been riding him all year. If we're going to criticize people, like I do Melvin a lot. I know Dan's not a big fan of Bailey, but when they do something good, you got to, praise them. It's the same thing with Gilbert. What's this guy doing? I think he was 1 for his first 16. This guy can't have it. What are we doing? We're still trying to figure out the right field. But now he's earned my respect because it wasn't just 1 game. It wasn't just 2 games. It was over a couple series. And the other thing about him is, and we brought this up the other night, Dallas, he has really brought that kid atmosphere into the dugout. Where I believe maybe the first half of the season, Adames was sort of all excited and he was sort of peppy. But this kid, it doesn't matter what it is. He's excited to be at the ball game. He appreciates the Giants for giving him a chance. And he is like, it's opening day every day. He's fired up. Even though last night he didn't start, I don't remember if he even got at bat. But, today it was like, no problem. I'm there. It's sort of reminds me of, when Kevin Costner's movie, when he played for the Durham Bulls, he just
Bull Durham.
Bull Durham. He appreciates being where he's at. And I'm not saying he's going to be our right fielder of the future, but he's something that they've needed. And, we keep saying this, they got to play the young guys. And this is what happens. when you play these young guys, like last year, purely Fitzgerald sort of had it, for a good 2 months. But Gilbert just has something going. You know what I mean? When he's going to make contact. They're trying him in outfield. And that's the one thing I think the Giants have been lacking, is not giving the youth an opportunity. Because now when you do get the youth and they do come through, you see what happens. It goes throughout the team. So I just wanted to bring that
and they
up.
got a good mix. They got the old guys, Devers, Adames, Chapman, and Flores, and then everyone else is young. Ramos, McRae, Gilbert, Schmidt, Matos, Bailey. So you do want to get a good mix in that lineup. You want a mix of the contact hitters and the home run hitters, and you want a mix of the young guys and the old guys, and you want to balance in the lineup. And slowly but surely, they're trying to get back to that balance. So it's good to see, and they keep it going.
Yeah.
So we could go read a couple comments here. Skywalker Destroyer. If this kid Gilbert is legit, maybe the Giants should consider moving Ramos in the infield to play second base. No, I don't think so.
No, you got Casey there. I did like an earlier
Ramos
comment.
Can barely play the outfield.
Yeah,
so.
I did like the comment. Maybe if you want to play both Matos and Gilbert, have Ramos as the DH. I have no problem with that, because I really think Wilmer is a clutch, especially if he comes off the bench. I have no problem with that, but you definitely need Ramos somewhere because of his bat. It's intolerance. You need him, especially at the top of the lineup, because I assume that's where he's going to be batting, since we had Lee only one of the last 8 games lead off. So, but yeah, I mean, it's a good idea for second, but with Schmidt, healthy, you got to have him at second.
Yeah, for sure. He's been a bright spot this season, and hopefully he can finish it out strong and stay healthy. He tends to get hit a lot, so he needs to, I don't know, try to dodge a little better or something.
Yeah. No, and I think one of the good comments, George brings up a good comment. The best thing the Giants did was trade Yaz.
Oh yeah.
If we wouldn't, first of all, we probably wouldn't have had Gilbert, right? If we would still had Yaz, because why would we have picked him up? You know what I mean? With the outfield. And second of all, we wouldn't have been able to see this guy play. We would still be going with Yaz and probably knowing the Giants, everyone's saying, oh, well, we'll just re-sign Yaz, might as well keep him out there. You just don't know. But I thought, that's a great comment where, if we didn't trade Yaz, we wouldn't have got Gilbert, and we wouldn't be able to see this guy play. And, he's been a big jolt. I'm going to give him a lot of, he's been a huge jolt to the offense. And I think the overall attitude where he's sort of bringing back the fun. I'm not saying the Giants didn't have fun, but I think they were just sort of missing something, and probably was because they were playing so bad. It's hard to get up for every game. But with him in that lineup, he sort of reminds me of Hunter a little bit, Hunter
he's
did
a spark plug.
Yeah.
And where he's over the top. He's, ready to go.
Yeah.
On every play, he's just like chomping at the bit on every single play, like 200 pitches a game in the outfield. His feet are moving and he's ready to, he's giving it 110% all the time. Yeah. And then, so that kind of personality, I mean, that's a young man's type of mentality, but,
and I think best thing about him now,
some guys like Eric Burns and Hunter Pence, and some guys have that personality where they can be tenacious like that all the way through their career.
Yeah. And I think the good thing about Gilbert too, he's not striking out. We always talk about, we want guys that can put the ball in play, and he has. I mean, like tonight, he didn't strike out, so I think that's key. And, he had a walk. So, like I said, I think Gilbert, has been a huge, huge plus for the outfield, but most importantly in the dugout.
Yep. He's been a great addition. So I can't wait to see more of him. Dan, how's that draft going? You're muted, Dan. Still muted.
There we go. How's that? There we go.
Good.
All right. Yeah, it's going well. It's going well. I've got coming up here another 8-9 picks. So I got a little break. I got the last pick, so I get 2 picks every time. So it's going pretty good. But Big win tonight, guys. Chapman played a heck of a game. I don't know if you guys did the player of the games yet already, but
Not yet.
he would be my choice. Read an article on him that was written in the San Francisco Chronicle by Susan Slusser about him growing up with Tourette's syndrome, which if you know anything about Tourette's syndrome, it's involuntary tics. And, I still think he's got an issue with striking out a lot, but I have a new respect for what he had to go through growing up, getting teased a lot. So, heck, man, that's a tough disability, to go through in life and to get teased and bullied growing up. And I bet he's the richest guy in his elementary school.
Yeah. And then
good for him.
When the other pitcher starts running his mouth and he wants to do a little bullying himself.
Yeah, there we go.
Him.
Yeah. Hey, I'll pop back in a little bit. I think my pick's coming up shortly, and I don't want to miss it. But I just want to say I'll be back, but after my next picks. Great game. Good to see the Giants are playing really well. They're playing relaxed. I think Gilbert's kind of infused some fun into this team again, and you need that. So carry on, guys. I'll be back.
All right. Sounds good.
Obviously, he wasn't. Obviously, Dallas, he hasn't been listening to the show. Talking about Gilbert. We've been talking about him half the show. So, you're muted. You're muted. Dallas, you're muted. Dallas, you're muted. You're muted. You should be back now. Nope. Maybe Dan screwed it up. No, I can't hear you. Can you guys hear Dallas? Can anybody in the chat hear Dallas? Can you hear me? Comment, chat, please. Dallas, Lou, and that fight that happened. Don't allow the homer. No. Mitchell, does that mean you can't hear either one of us? I hear Lou. So they can hear me, Dallas. We can't hear you. Dan must have done something. No Dallas, yes, Lou. Sorry, guys. We have no technology to do anything. Me and Dallas are just fillers. Only Lou. I don't know. Dallas, can you hear me? Can you hear me, Dallas? No. Do you all right. We'll see. He'll probably try to sign in, sign off. Yeah, but guys, we still have a lot to go. I think the Giants, first of all, TG Delmar, it was great. Even with Dan, it was great. This past weekend, Pacific Classic was really great. JC, I'll be in Vegas for Breeders' Cup. But the one thing about the Giants is they got to take baby steps. The first step, 500. Okay. Now they're 2 games over. They now, take the day off, have a great flight, and then this weekend with St. Louis, it's going to be a battle. The Giants always have a tough time in St. Louis, and then then we come back, and then it's going to be the season because we have Arizona and the Dodgers, then we go to Arizona and the Dodgers, so that'll be our season. And, we hopefully everything go well. Again, it's sort of funny, guys. When Dan went on it and got off, I knew one of us would have a problem. It's just sort of how it is. Because I know Ryan's probably not listening because he's doing his thing. So when we fill in, unfortunately, mistakes happen. Pup USA find, will they make the wild card? No, I don't think they're going to make the wild card. I think it's going to be too little, too late. I mean, in fact, let's take a look at the standings as they go. And let me just sort of go to it. If we go to the standings and the wild card standings, the Giants are 4 back of New York, 5 behind the Mets, really, because of the tiebreaker. And then there's 6 games, San Diego, because they tied. And then, of course, they're 10 back of the Cubs. So the thing is the Reds are only a game back, but, the Reds have a tough schedule. Oh, Dallas is back. Let's see.
You got me now?
I got you.
Had to do a little quick restart there. I don't know what happened.
I think when Dan got on, he probably did something that affected you since you were the main guy on, probably. Sorry, Papa Puza, my fault. That's the first time I've seen, it seems like we have a few new guys. It seems like when the Giants are winning, all of a sudden more people show up. Uncle Rico, good to see you. Richie, it's only 4 back. Yes. But I think what you got to look at is the Mets have 7 more games on their road trip. Okay. But then they come back and they have 12 games. You got to see who the Mets are going to play at home compared to the Giants, who are going to have Arizona, who's going to be tough, and the Dodgers. So, but hey, the other thing too is, you guys remember the Giants are 10-1. Okay. 10-1, and they've only gained like 3 games. They're playing lights out, but they've only 3 games. How can they keep this up? You got to remember now they're going to St. Louis, right? But look, who's going to be pitching for us? Okay. I'm not even sure. So that's sort of the key where, you got to see who we play at the time, who's ahead of us, their schedule. And again, with our pitching staff, I'm just telling you, with Verlander doing the 121 pitches, he's not going to be the same great pitcher. I can almost guarantee it next start. And then, we're not going to have Webb. Webb's not going to pitch until we come back home for Arizona. So, we're going to have – it's going to be tough because we're not going to have our solid pitching staff for St. Louis. That's what I'm just trying to say.
Yeah, that's right. So, I mean, who's on the docket here? We got Seymour is going to pitch on Friday, according to this. And then that means you got Verlander on Saturday and then Tang. So, I mean, those 3 managed to get the job done last time.
And Tang's going against Sonny Gray. So I think that's sort of a little advantage for St. Louis.
Yeah. So it just depends on what Giants team shows up. I mean, if the hot home run hitting Giants show up, then they have a shot at any game,
Yep.
And you don't rely on the pitching as heavily, but it's just such a stark contrast to what team they were the first 2/3 of the season that it's you don't quite trust it yet.
Yeah. Yeah, Uncle Rico, the Giants now at least have a chance, and that's better than no chance at all. I agree.
Sure.
But,
Definitely.
it's just tough because we started so far back. It's almost like, you're a horse and you have trouble. And if you're only 5 games back, is one thing. But, it felt like we were more like 10. These other teams, it's just tough because we have people in front of us that also have to lose. When they win and we lose, like just say, we lose on Friday and say the Reds win, Arizona wins, and say the Mets win or something like that. We've now lost, have we not lost a game to them? It's there's just so many games left on the whole year. And that's why when you lose and the team in front of you wins, it's more like 2 losses because you have less games to try to pick up. That's the problem. When, you are down to basically, I mean, what are we? We're at 140. So we have 22 games left. So for us to pick up, you got to keep hoping these teams ahead of us lose because, like I said, if we lose Friday and the Mets win, now not only do we lose not only are we literally 6 back, but there's only 19 games to make the 6 games up. And that's the key. And, that's one of the things Dallas said before is, a little too late, but they're not, they're not there. I think, definitely if the Giants can, take 2 out of 3 against St. Louis and get a little help, then they're going to come home and, they should have the confidence, they're winning 13 out of 15. And, hopefully that stadium is rocking with Arizona. But that's sort of, what we mean, how important it is, just because there's just so few games left in the season. It's hard to make up 6 games because you need a lot of help beside winning of teams in front of you.
Yeah, now you got to make up 5 games, right? They're 4 back of the Mets, technically 5 because of the tiebreaker. So 5 games with 20 to go. It's possible, but like you said, Lou, it's going to take a lot of help, and you cannot lose on a day the Mets win, because as you said, you not only fall back that extra game, but you lose that game of play left in the season. So anything's possible, but all they got to do is just keep playing the way they're playing. They're playing loose. They're playing fun. They look like they're more together. I think the infusion of Matos and Gilbert has helped this team. And you saw Matos take a walk tonight, and he turned back to the dugout and kind of, let's go. You don't see that. Just these young guys have enthusiasm. And I noticed this new thing with the home run. I don't recall them running through the tunnel or whatever you want to call it earlier in the year. It seems like it's something, maybe they were and I forgot, or I don't know, but it seems like they're having a little more fun with home runs now, and they're hitting so many. So we'll see where this thing goes.
They're actually hitting them now, so they had to come up with a celebration.
Games. Yeah, it's nice to see. Yeah, I mean they were in such a funk. You hope that it's swinging back. They were so bad. You hope that they can play as good a baseball for as long as they played bad baseball. If not, they might come back to the means, which might be, a few games over 500, which is kind of where we had them at the beginning of the season. So, but all they can do is just keep playing. That's all they can do. So I like what I'm seeing, and I need to get going. I see my draft picks are coming up, so I'll be back.
Who's your next pick, Dan?
I don't know yet. I got to go look at the board.
Oh,
I'll tell you when I'm done.
Oh boy. Yeah, we got NFL football tomorrow.
Yeah,
night.
It all starts tomorrow, and no show tomorrow, guys. So enjoy the opening game. We'll definitely back on Friday. But why don't we go over the game and let's do our players of the game, because I'm not sure how long Dan's going to be. But why don't we get to the game and pick our 3 stars? Dallas, like usual, you can have the honor since you started the show.
Sure. Okay, let's do. These games are tough when everyone's hitting.
Which is a good problem.
So number 3, I'll go with Gilbert with the home run in the 7th, his 3rd career home run, and so he added on there. We'll do. Let's see here. I'm going to go with Peguero coming out of the pen, and Ray was
and that was huge. It was huge.
Ray was in trouble. He came in, closed out the inning, and then pitched another inning.
Great pick.
Didn't give up a hit, didn't give up a run, didn't walk anybody, didn't strike anybody out, didn't need to strike anybody out. He just got the job done. So that was good. A key part of the game. We needed
huge
someone to come
shutdown
in.
Inning. I thought, Dallas,
and he
great pick, because you got to remember the Giants blew the lead. They get a big 5-run lead. He then gets the shutdown. Then they got the add-on run too. So without him, the Giants might, who knows? They might still be playing. So I love that pick. I just wanted to bring that up, how important it was. And he got the win.
And then there's no surprise about number 1. I mean, Chapman, he didn't play yesterday because he got kicked out. he got the suspension today that he's going to appeal. So I was like, well, why don't you take take the suspension game tonight, and then you get to play against a good team. Well, this game, winning tonight is every bit as important as all the rest of the games. So it was good he was in there because he hit 2 home runs and drove in 4 runs and was basically the half of the offense tonight. So Chapman had a really good night, and it was good that he was in there. So Chapman is my number 1.
Try to go a little bit different than you. So my number 3 star, I'm going to say Bailey, because like I said, I thought his 2 hits were huge. And, we talk about, the Giants are scoring runs, but sometimes you need that hit to get the inning, to keep it going. And I thought Bailey tonight, was great. So he got 2 huge hits, which I thought was big. So he'll be my number 3. I will do my number 2 star. I'm going to give it to Ryan Walker. Just because the way the Giants were going, without Walker, we would have lost. And you got to remember, there's a lot more pressure with him now because we don't really have a closer. He is our closer. And he did the job. He got the last out. He got the save, and we got the win. Because, that again, in Coors Field, anything can happen. Typical example, that 9th inning, until there's 3 outs, you don't think it's over. I mean, all it is just a single to right, left, center. It's so big, it goes all the way to the wall. It's a triple. Even the outfielders get fooled so much. So Walker will be my number 2 star. And then, we'll do the number 1 star just the same as you with Chapman. Multi-homer game, not just 1, but 2. The other thing is I ride him a lot, and I know Dan does too, is he doesn't hit it when it really counts. That second homer was huge because it was so big because it was an add-on after we got the lead and we needed it. We knew we'd need it because in Coors Field, you never have enough. So, I thought that was huge and definitely deserved. And, the one thing is, that's something I'll bring up, Dallas, is Chapman, did he want to play tonight because he knew how important it was to get the sweep? Or if it was me, I probably would have said, again, I like his attitude because it's the player. I want to play now. I'll appeal it, and let's take me out of another game later on. But let's get the win now. We have a chance to sweep. It's big. So, I'm going to bring down Chapman saying, hey, I like the move. It's sort of these guys that, like last night, I wasn't on the show, but I thought the player of the game and how big it was Casey Schmidt. Okay. Schmidt, first of all, wasn't even in the lineup, could barely throw, got hit the night before. They said he was probably going to be out 2 games. And because of the 2 throwouts in the first inning, they needed him. And, he completed a double play. And that's the type of guy that's actually a real ball player. They're not going to use an excuse. They're not going to say, oh, my hand hurts, give me a couple of days off. That's what I like about some of these young guys, because they know this might be it for them. They got to prove themselves now because, who knows the offseason, they might sign a second baseman, with Bailey, they might sign another catcher, and you may never get another chance. And this is like, literally for some of these young guys, it's 6-week audition. And either they're going to give you a contract and an opportunity next year, sort of like Fitzgerald. If you guys know, nobody's asked, hey, where's Fitzgerald? He's stuck in the minors. He may never make it back up. He's having a tough time at AAA. He had a tough time, earlier in the year. That's why when you get your time, you got to do whatever it takes to stay. So, I just wanted to bring that up.
Yeah, that's true. Because a lot of guys, they get a little cup of coffee and then that was all they got, and that happens quite a bit. So, and
for one position, remember, there's 16 guys through the farm system that want to be that next second baseman. They'll do whatever it takes. There might be a guy in AA that you haven't heard of yet. Like right now, the Giants in AAA, they have a catcher. The guy's hitting the lights out. But right now with Bailey, Bailey's saying, okay, let me just, I know I got competition coming up. The guy can hit better than me, but he can't frame better than me. And since Dallas thinks I'm clutch, he's not as clutch as me. And I think, that's the key. The Giants easily could bring up, like I said, they could bring up a guy, he's batting, I think, like 290 in AAA. He's hitting lights out, but he has problems, pass balls. I think the one thing about Bailey that we really haven't spoken about is his throwing out runners. I mean, it's sort of phenomenal. Just like over the last week, I think he's thrown 7 out of the last 8 runners out. And that's a huge part of his game. Now, I know offense is suffering, but we always ride him. He can't hit. Too many pass balls. But we don't talk enough about his rocket arm where he's thrown these guys out. And a lot of them is, runners might be at first and third. We're up only a run or up 2, and we'll throw the guy out at second. Or they try to get us something. When you not get a guy out with less than, with no outs and you throw a guy out at second, it's just a huge rally killer. And,
Sure,
with Bailey's
absolutely.
arm, it's huge. And I don't think, we got to take advantage. And, maybe I'm just saying Bailey had, it's something that I've noticed just over the last week. His defense has been phenomenal. But if he can come up, once a week and come up with 2 big hits like he did tonight, then I'm okay for right now. And he's the best we have.
Yeah, there's not really much else in the pipeline. Obviously, there's Rodriguez, that kid. We might get to see him later on, but for now, it's working.
And Dallas, how does it work
change
now?
anything?
How does it work now? So there's a 26-man and right now, and then can we expand? How does that work in the last month of the season?
I think it's 28 now. So they added the 2. They added Brubaker and they added McRae. So they have 2 extra guys going forward, but that's it. It doesn't go to 40 anymore. It's just the 2.
All right.
So, but they did say they're going to switch it around. So we'll probably, they're going to mix and match and try different guys out and stuff. But I think we're going to get a heavy dose of Matos and Gilbert going forward. And McRae's been coming in late innings to pinch hit or to play defense for Ramos. And then he had a bad play tonight. So that didn't work out, but so that I don't know how much more McRae we're going to see, but I'm in favor of pinch running him and trying to get some, he can wreak havoc on the base paths at some point, but they haven't had to do that because they're hitting the long ball. So.
Okay. All right. Well,
so yeah, we have an off day tomorrow and then St. Louis on Friday.
Yeah. And then you said who's playing pitching for us? Friday night.
It's Carson Seymour.
Oh, Seymour. Okay. Mr. Home Runitis, and we're going against right pitcher Michael McGreevy.
McGreevy. Yeah. 6-2 with a 4 earned run average. Not too shabby.
Yeah. And let me see, how is he at home? 6 games starting at home, 40 innings, 44 hits, 28. So, he's struggled a little bit. His last start at Cincinnati, he went 6 innings, 5 hits, only 1 run. And, Cincinnati's a little bandbox, so that's a good performance. Right. But his last 2 at home, he's struggled a little bit. 6 innings, 6 hits, 4 runs, 7 strikeouts. And then the time before, Colorado, he pitched 6 innings, 7 hits, 3 runs, and only 2 strikeouts. So I think the key thing, too, with the streak here is we're not getting – you remember we went through like 12 games where it seemed like we struck out 10, 12 times, and we're not striking out. We're striking out 6, which is fine, because you're putting the ball in play. And I think that's the key thing, with them. So
and then 5 for 10 with runners in scoring position.
We'll take it every game. Yeah.
It's like it's crazy. It used to be like 1 for 10 a lot of games, and now it's 5 for 10. So that's the big difference. But it's good that they're going to the small ballpark because they were playing in San Francisco when it was a heat wave and the ball was traveling, and then they go to Colorado. Obviously, the ball travels there. And with all these hitters that are are hitting the long ball right now. Devers is hitting it. Adamas is hitting it. Chapman's hitting it. Schmidt's been hitting them. Matos hit a couple. Gilbert hit a couple. Flores hit a couple. So everyone's hitting the long ball right now. The Giants have scored home runs in the last 16 games, I think it is. 16 or 17 now.
17 in a row.
So that's a heck of a streak, and hopefully they continue that going into St. Louis.
All right, so here's my thing, Dallas. I don't know how much longer we're going to be on, but let's do a little prediction since we're not going to be on until after the first game of St. Louis, but we play 3 in St. Louis. What are you thinking? Can the Giants keep it up? Can they sweep the whole road trip? Would you be happy if they went 2-1? Would you be upset if they went 1-2? Would you be pissed off if they went 0-3 and then wind up having a 500 road trip?
I'd be disappointed if they went 0-3. Obviously, I would be disappointed if they went 1-2 in the next series. They need to win.
Now remember who's pitching. We don't have our
right
1 or 2.
So you want to get greedy and you want to sweep it, right? But I don't know how you win the next game with Seymour against McGreevy. That's going to be a tough one. I know the odds will not be in the Giants' favor going into the game. So you just have to hope the offense keeps them in the game and puts runs on the board. And maybe they put a crooked number up early, and then it allows the pitchers to pitch a little more freely and not have to be so reserved with what they're throwing. It gives them a little bit of room for error, which is helpful for pitchers. So, the way they're playing, they can win any game. A sweep is definitely in the cards, but if they win 2 out of 3, I'll take it.
It'll be a great road trip. Yeah, and I think, they don't want to be down 0-2 and then have to go against Sonny Gray. They're sort of their ace, and, he's a good pitcher. But, we'll see. Hopefully, I'm wrong about Saturday with Verlander. But, the Giants, the Friday night game's at 5:15. Saturday, it's another Fox game. So it's not, it's 4:15 our time. And then, of course, Sunday morning. Again, we don't know what's going to happen on Sunday because, you're going to have the Niners playing also at 1:50. Dan's probably going to be all over. Who knows? Maybe me and Dallas will be doing the hot corner because, maybe he'll be with Larry Krueger. But, we'll see. But, yeah, so, I'm hoping for 2 out of 3. And like I said, I think, St. Louis is going to be tough just because they always play it tough with them. Because then after that, we go six games. We play 13 games, 6 against Arizona, 3-3. And then the Dodgers, 3-4. Now, I know a couple guys in the chat are saying, hey, the Dodgers are suffering. They're going to get swept because they're going against schemes. First of all, guys, I know they're going against schemes, but the Dodgers have their ace going tomorrow. I don't know if anyone's noticed. Former Giant is now 3-1 his last 4 starts. Snell's pitching great. So don't worry about the Dodgers. And that's what worries about me is, we're going to play good against Arizona, and the Dodgers might be at 500. They're doing nothing. But when they play us, they can turn it on at any time. They're that good. So let's not just say, oh, the Dodgers are suffering. It's everybody's trying to get to the finish line. And I think, like I said, when we were having problems with Dallas, Giants have 3 steps. Get to be 500. They've accomplished that. I think the next goal to get to 80 wins. If they can accomplish that, then the next step will be the playoffs. You got to go steps because of the first 100 games the Giants put themselves in this situation. I know it's not fun. We almost wish God, the Giants playing so well. I wish we had another 60, 70 games. We have the All-Star break or something, but it's just, that's just how it is. So, we will
got to figure out a way to win on Friday. That's all you got to do.
Win on Friday.
Show up and figure out how to do it.
I completely agree. That's what most important. But yeah, guys, I think that's good. Ryan, I don't know if you can hear us. Dallas, do you have anything else to say?
Well, we got football starting tomorrow night. Yep. Cowboys at Eagles. We got the Eagles favored currently by 7.5. Who do you like in that, Lou?
Well, it's sort of weird because the line originally was 6.5. Then the trade happened with Parsons, and it went up to 8.5. Now it's back a little bit. But yeah, I just think it's really tough. Everyone's talking about the trade. I don't think Dallas has really improved the team much. And it's going to be a frenzy because Philly just won the Super Bowl. It's their home opener. And teams that have started at home after winning the Super Bowl, just game one, not the regular season, because I know a lot of teams haven't made the playoffs. I think it's like they're 11-1 when they start at home. So it's going to be a tough game. I think, if Philly gets an early lead, doesn't surprise me. But, you guys got to remember Dallas, they're just not that impressive to me. So, we'll see. But you know what? I just want it to be a good game, open the season, no injuries. And, I'm actually more excited about the Baltimore Buffalo game. That's sort of my game of the week. And, we'll hopefully Ryan's Denver Broncos can come out on top. And what Dallas, are you a big Niner fan?
Niner fan, yeah.
Okay. So I might as well ask you before the season starts, before I forget, with Giants, how do you see them this year? Do you have a particular record? And then we'll call it a night.
I'm cautiously optimistic. Maybe I'm foolish, but I think they're going to win. I'm going to say 11 games this year.
11. Okay. Big improvement over last year.
Big improvement.
I think if I remember, what are they, 7-10 or 8-9? All right. I'm going to go 8-9.
That's flipping it. That's 11.
I'm going to go 8-9 with the Niners.
8-9 losing record. Wow.
For a couple of reasons. I'm really worried about the Niners' health. I'm really worried. Brock Purdy finally got the big contract. I never thought he was one of the top echelon guys. And I just think this is the year where, and again, hopefully they start off good, but everyone talks about how bad Seattle is. Okay. You still got to start at Seattle. I heard today Susan Slusser and they had this other girl talk. Oh, there's no more 12th man. Okay. Seattle's still Seattle, and you got to beat them at Seattle for game one. I think it's a tough opener. The Niners are in a division where I think the Rams are far, far superior. They're number one, especially with a healthy quarterback. I think nobody's talking about Arizona. I think Arizona is better than the Niners. And then, it's, Seattle and the Niners. I think it's the thing about the Niners is the last couple of years, it's always been Super Bowl or bust. I think the thing with the Niners right now is everyone says we have an easy schedule. It doesn't matter if you have an easy schedule. It's the team that you put on the field. And, we don't have our best wide receiver, who I never thought was that good until week 4, maybe week 6. We're still trying to figure out a running game with CMC. It's amazing. Last year, people said, oh my God, CMC has all these problems, but all of a sudden a year later, now he's cured. We have 2 backups to make sure he doesn't get overused. I'm a little concerned about our defensive line. I'm really concerned about our offensive line. And, last year, Brock Purdy showed, hey, without your star performers, he was average at best. So I think it's going to be a struggle this year. I think too many times, we look at the opponents, but not the team itself. So I think 8-9, it's a prediction. I mean, I'm not a huge NFL fan. I mean, I enjoy watching the Niners. I do love Red Zone on Sunday. But I'm a much bigger college fan, so I just try to be realistic.
I'm all NFL. I'll watch a little college here and there, but I'm big on
no problem.
NFL. So,
everyone's different. It's like a rock and roll preference. All right. Yep. Well, listen, guys.
Looking forward to football being back. This is going to be good.
It'll be good, and it'll help us out, and most importantly, chat. Without you guys, we wouldn't be here. So we really want to thank the chat. I'm really sorry that Philip 12-5 Purdy MVP. All right, Homer. We'll mark that up, and if they don't go 12-5 and Purdy doesn't do the thing, we'll call you the new Robert Rothberg. But yeah, it's we look forward to seeing you guys on Friday. Again, sorry Dan couldn't be here. His priorities are the football draft after he said he wasn't going to do NFL fantasy draft anymore after this year when being in 2 baseball leagues. But, what are you going to do? It's his channel. He can do what he wants. So we will let you guys go. Have a safe Wednesday night. Enjoy tomorrow off and enjoy the NFL.